Hello everybody, and welcome back to Manga Mavericks Movies, the show where we don't talk smack about movies, we celebrate them, except for the rare occasions where we do talk smack about movies, but that wouldn't be very Christmassy of us, would it? Yes, it's been a while, but we're back to throw another log in the Movies fire, just in time for Yule as a Christmas gift to our dear listeners. Presenting our first ever special Manga Mavericks Movies interview with Casper Kelly, the creator of many Adult Swim classics like Stroker and Hoop, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, Too Many Cooks, Final Deployment 4, and his newest special and the subject of our conversation, Adult Swim's first ever live-action feature film, Adult Swim Yule Log, aka The Fireplace. Yule Log was a wonderful wintertime gift we didn't know we wanted when it premiered after the Rick and Morty season finale last Sunday night. It's the kind of special surprise and creative novelty that I absolutely love Adult Swim for, and why they're my favorite network, why I think they're the best network around, because no other TV network would greenlight a feature film based around a Yule Log video gone horribly wrong like this, and take it to such places so unexpected, and so profound. But the film, it is so much more than an inspired gimmick, and we go deep with Casper to ask burning questions about what sparked his imagination and lit the fire in all the themes placed in the film, and he lays down a lot of fascinating insights you don't want to log. You should watch Yule Log before listening to this interview. We do not avoid spoilers in my questions, and one of them involves discussing the ending of the film and its implications. So definitely, you want to go into Yule Log completely blind, knowing nothing about it. Watch it on Adult Swim's website or HBO Max first, then come back to listen to this interview. I think that is the best way to appreciate this interview, and the best way to appreciate the film. So, please watch the film for us, and don't start a flame war with me if you don't. But, enough burning the midnight oil. Let's crawl into the fireplace and chat with the man behind his Yuletime jewel sublime, Casper Kelly.
Hi, thank you so much, Casper, for talking with me. I've been a huge fan of many of your shows and films for a long time, including Stroker and Hoop, Your Pretty Face. So it's really an honor to get to talk to you about Adult Swim Yule Log.
Oh, thank you so much. That's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy to talk about all the unfriendly ghosts that grace the fireplace on our telly. Yeah, so first I just wanted to start by asking, how you got the inspiration for the film. What lit the idea? How did it grow from there?
Oh, well, it was last year during the holidays. I was watching a Yule Log video, and for some reason, I just got the image. I'm looking at this tight shot of a fireplace, and I just got this image of legs walking across the fire, slightly out of focus, and hearing dialogue off screen and a story developing off screen, and it just really inspired me. So it took off from there.
Yeah, and it kind of starts off with this kind of premise of like a horror twist on a Yule Log video, but then it grows and evolves into something much grander, larger, amusing about like how the time period, places, events in our lives shape who we are as people. When did you start to like snowball into like these grander ideas and themes in the film?
Oh, that makes me feel good, you saying all this. I guess I just knew that I wanted to do it pretty early on, because what am I trying to say? I'm rambling. Like I come up through Adult Swim where we we do very short episodes, like 11-minute. Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell was 11-minute episodes. So I guess I'm used to packing in a half-hour sitcom in 11 minutes. So the same thing with a movie. I just felt like, well, I have all this time. I should do more than just one thing, you know. And I guess partly inspired. I was interested in doing what would a movie that sort of feels or has some DNA of Too Many Cooks feel like. And I didn't want to do anything really with sitcoms, but I wanted to do something with that feeling of escalation and adding ideas that maybe don't belong together and so forth. So I'm glad you saw that.
No, absolutely. That's what I love about your work, is that you really love to escalate things. You pack so much into the runtime, and it was a real treat to watch the film because it is like an entire season worth of television, almost like the length of a season of Your Pretty Face just dropped all at once, and it was really, really fun to watch. But I was just interested just in that fascination you have with packing just so much into your films, into your projects, because, you know, like with Too Many Cooks and Final Deployment 4, you know, things just grow and grow. Like, why do you want to like just put so much of your ideas in there? Like, were there any ideas in this film in particular that you had to leave out, or it was like, no, I just had all these ideas, I just want to really put everything in the kitchen sink here?
Yes. I think I was able to put everything in there because I have such a great supportive team. And I don't know. I wonder if part of it is that in this business, there's so many projects you work on that don't get made and so on. So when you get a chance to really make something, I have all this enthusiasm and ideas stored up. And I just want to do as much as I can. That might be a factor. Maybe I'm also a little ADHD. So I'll jump around for the shiny penny, you know, a little bit of that. See, even my answer is ADD. I don't think I'm making sense, but anyway.
No, you are.
Some
Totally.
of that makes sense.
No, definitely. You did. And like, absolutely. I just loved just how many ideas are in your project and this film in particular. And yeah, I mean, I was especially impressed because from what I understand, like the amount of time you had to make this film, like you came up with the idea last year, you had about 6 months to make it. You know, you made a feature film under such a compressed period of time. You only had a few days after casting actors for them to, before filming, there wasn't even a lot of time for them to rehearse. Like everything was on such a compressed time period. I was just wondering, like, you know, how that challenge was like, you know, trying to make such a big project in the same amount of time, you know, you spent on like Too Many Cooks even.
Yes. It was stressful, but in a way it's good too, because you don't have time to second guess yourself. And if something doesn't go quite right, you've got to problem solve it right there and figure it out creatively. And it's sort of like the appeal of, you know, there's a lot of creative projects you probably heard of, like the 48-hour film festival or something.
Yeah.
You make a movie in 48 hours, a short, or like there's National Novel Writing Month where you try to write a novel in a month. And I think we're attracted to that because it sort of forces your doubts and your editors away, your internal editor. You just don't have time. You've got to, you know, it gives you freedom to experiment because you just don't have time to second guess yourself.
Totally. But it's just so impressive because the film, of course, starts off with like this single cam static shot, and it's like a play almost, and like the staging, and just imagining like the actors having to rehearse like their lines and memorize that for such a long period of time, just an unbroken scene. That is just so impressive. But also to go from that, like when did you come across the decision to change it from that initial setup of a single cam static shot to doing multicam and then having multiple different takes and shots like in the second half of the film?
I think originally we were thinking about doing it all as tight shot, where it's almost like a radio play and you just see little bits. But I think I was inspired probably by Too Many Cooks, how I did the extending sitcom idea for a long time and then started doing other things. And that was so fun that I just decided to do that again.
Nice. Well, I want to talk a little more thematically about the film and its connections to Too Many Cooks and Final Deployment 4, because I feel like all those projects have kind of this theme of exploring this feeling of having no control in our lives, feeling trapped by forces beyond our control. And like in Yule Log, there's a sense, Zoe's character in particular feels like you can't change or escape the life you're born into outside of unexisting yourself, as the little man in the fire tries to tempt characters into. So what fascinates you about this theme and exploring that in your films?
That's a great question. And I'm going to name drop for a little bit. I got invited to a festival where I was interviewed by the two guys of Spectre Vision, Elijah Wood and Daniel Noah. And they said that too. They said, there's a theme in your work of being trapped. And it had never occurred to me. And I thought about it. I'm like, I guess that's true. So I'm not sure. I could probably think of deep-seated reasons from childhood and middle school of feeling trapped, or, trapped in my social position and, what have you. But yeah, it's a surprising thing it wasn't conscious. Well, basically what I'm trying to say is it wasn't conscious. I just started making stuff that I was drawn to. And then other people are pointing out these themes that I'm like, yeah, you're right. So yeah, you're observant.
No, for sure. Like, I really got invested in Zoe's character as a person who also has a lot of anxiety about their life, their future. And I was really moved by her character arc and realizing, she wants to live her happiest life, which made me all the more bummed that, she didn't survive at the end, because it seemed to validate that fear that she was cursed and Alex and the other people in her life died and suffered because she met her. And this feeling of a predetermined destiny informed by the events of the past and circumstances of her life. I was just curious, what made you decide on the ending that the film has, and what message you wanted people to get away from the film?
Well, I'm probably more interested in what you're saying is just music to my ears. I'm interested in the conversation than really giving answers, because a lot of these questions, I don't have answers. They're questions I'm asking myself, like, is the world getting better through technology and progress? And this generation, Gen Z, is kinder, I would argue, than others. It seems to be getting better, but in other ways things seem to be getting a lot worse. The environment, so it's a question of, are we on an upward slope? Are we on a downward? I don't, so and I just lost the thread of your question, which was what am I? And as far as Zoe, yes, that was one thing that Michael Aline, the head of Adult Swim, also said. He's like, what if Zoe lived? And because I definitely don't want to say, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I don't know. It was just a feeling. And maybe she did live. We don't know for 100%.
It's true. We didn't see the inside of the car. Maybe the blood is all from the log, right?
Yeah, maybe it's all from Alex,
Yeah. But that also would be a bummer, because then Alex did die circumstantially. But yeah.
Yes.
But no, and your film really did spark a really fascinating conversation I had with my girlfriend. I kind of bamboozled her on our date a few days ago, saying, hey, do you want to watch Yule Log while eating dinner? And showed her the film. And she got really into it. And she was like, this is incredible. Watch it again. And when it ended, she was like, wow, okay, that was a lot. And we talked just like 15 minutes about the themes of the film because, you know, she's also thought about like these ideas of time privilege a lot because, you know, as a trans woman, she thinks a lot about how right now is the most socially progressive time period for her to live as herself, but also she's a school teacher. And she also has thought a lot about the fact that she lives in a time of less social mobility and economic stability than her parents, but she has more than the generation of kids she's teaching is probably going to have. And the detail about Zoe working to help preserve coral reefs also got to her because, you know, the Great Barrier Reefs in Australia are dying out, might be gone in 5 years before you got a chance to see it. So yeah, it really sparked a very interesting like conversation. And so I definitely want to like ask for, you know, your thoughts of like what went into the film in terms of like exploring these ideas.
That makes me very happy. That makes me very happy that you're saying all this. And most interviews don't get into the themes. I think some of those ideas just, this isn't really answering your question, but, you know, this movie started not with a premise exactly like a story premise. It started with basically a gimmick. So I had to wrestle to find a story premise that fit this idea or several. And the ideas you're talking about came later. I think I'd already had a draft, and then those new ideas started to come. I was in the airport and it just floated into my head and I was so happy. I'm like, yes, this now I feel like it's getting complete. Like this is the meat I wanted. Yeah. So I'm glad. I'm so glad that you responded to that and saw it.
No,
because
totally.
I could have easily have done a movie where it's just them battling a flying log. That I could have done that, but I didn't want to do that.
No, I really appreciate that there was a lot to chew on in the film in terms of thought-provoking things. It had a real nice dreamlike quality in terms of the escalation of things, where things led. And it's really fun to sit with and think about. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I guess also just to talk about broader thematic connections between your films, like Too Many Cooks, Final Deployment 4, Yule Log, they all involve taking comfort media, like 80s sitcoms, Let's Plays, Yule Logs, and finding the horror in this false sense of security and control they provide in watching these things. So I guess what interests you in finding horror in like mundane media?
I never thought of that. That's a really good observation. I have not thought of it. I don't have a handy answer, but that's definitely true. I mean, you could even argue Stroker and Hoop is taking sort of the comforting,
like cop shows.
Cop shows. So, yeah, or Scooby-Doo Project. You know, start with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Your Pretty Face is a workplace sitcom.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that, but it's a good observation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like a lot about Adult Swim stuff is that, you know, especially the early shows, is like take a, you know, kind of a staple genre premise, like Harvey Birdman, like, you know, hey, a lawyer show, or, you know, let's play on like classic adventure serials like Johnny Quest and Adventure Bros and stuff, and then let's find like the absurd, dark twist in there. And I really like agree. That.
Yes. I'm a fan of Adult Swim too. So I love being a part of it.
And with that, we have to wrap. That's such a great ending, Casper. But thank you. And I'm going to send a recording after. Okay?
Thank you so much, Nicole. And thank you, Casper. This was a wonderful conversation. That
was a great interview. I loved your questions. I will hopefully everything I do, hopefully I can do an interview with you.
No, absolutely. I'd love to talk with you again. And also really enjoyed your Pretty Face animated shorts. Like, I love that show. So I'd love to see more of that series. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to your next projects. I understand you have, you know, another film in the works. You're working on some more scripts. So really excited.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You
Bye.
too.
So you've got trauma, go tell your mama. you've got pain, go tell the rain what you have desired. Go tell the fire, go tell the fire, go tell the fire.
Thanks so much to Casper and Adult Swim's PR team for granting us this fantastic interview opportunity, and for Casper's fascinating insights into his phenomenal film. If you didn't heed my warning and didn't watch the film before listening to this interview, you've got some nerve, mister. But please, do check it out on HBO Max and AdultSwim.com if you haven't. I have watched this film 4 times now, and I have loved it more and more every time, and I'd love to record a proper, full-length movie discussion on the film, if time permits over the holidays too. In general, I'd love to resume recording, releasing movies episodes in 2023 on a more regular basis, but we'll see what will be. Ideally, we would have been able to do this show a whole lot more this year, but alas, would that it were so. But we have plenty more podcasts and interviews in the works, so definitely follow the podcast on social media at Manga_Mavericks, and subscribe to us on every podcast platform you can think of, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. If you can listen to podcasts on it, we are probably on it. And you can also find us on our website, MangaMavericks.com, and our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Manga Mavericks. Well, you'll also be able to watch the video version of my interview with Casper too. If you enjoyed hearing us, maybe you'll enjoy watching us and seeing our faces as we talk about these questions in front of the picture of the fireplace, at least in my background on Zoom. So definitely watch it if you enjoy listening to the interview too. And yeah, if you enjoy the interview and the film and want to leave your own feedback, thoughts, and opinions on it, send them our way to our email, manganerds@gmail.com. We love getting your guys' feedback, hearing your opinions, and discussing them. And if you want to help support our podcast creations, help us continue to produce more interviews, do more stuff like this, subscribe to us at patreon.com/MangaMavericks, where we have a variety of tier options that will grant you bonus podcasts for your support, like early access to select podcasts, or exclusive monthly bonus podcasts at our $5 tier. Every dollar helps pay for our hosting and operating costs, and we really appreciate your patronage and support in helping us do what we do. And if you're interested in following me specifically, you can find me online as Lomo Miyasha, wherever I'm at, via Twitter, Animation Revelation, Anilist, Letterboxd, or what have you. Wherever I am, you can find me there by that name. You can also read more of my reviews and interviews on MangaArts.com, and also find the Urusei Out There focused podcast I do, Rum Squad, where we discuss the wonderful wacky world of Mungo Takashi's classic sci-fi rom-com comedy classic. We're having a lot of fun discussing the manga movies and the new currently airing anime, and it's such a great time to be Urusei Out There and Mungo Takashi fan, and we have so much planned for the next year. So find us online at Lum_Squad and on every podcast platform we can think of as well, and we also cross-post our episodes in the MangaMavericks feed and Patreon. And if you like the art I make, the thumbnails I draw for our podcast, the animations and illustrations I make in general, you can find more of that stuff on my Instagram at @SetArtWorks. But that does it for this special episode of Manga Mavericks at Movies, and here's hoping we'll see you again at another time, at another place. And scene.